Aloha, Archie. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Before I get started, Kemoku talked about 1897 and the families that was fighting for water back then. My family on both sides. My dad and my mom's were on that palapala to fight for these waters. So with that being said, I'm going to go beyond 3 minutes, and I ask for your pardon because I'm speaking for the last couple hundred years. Aloha, Chair Chang, and members of the Water Commission and Water Resource Management. Before I get started, I want to say that Kaleo Wong, your ears must be ringing. We need to reinstate that man. The other most important thing that we need to do in perpetuity, these in-stream flow standards in perpetuity, so that we're not here talking about this ever again. Because we've been talking about this for a couple hundred years. You guys have the ability to make that happen. So that the pain and suffering that everybody's feeling can be joy and tribulation. My name is Archie Kalepa. I'm a Kupa, citizen of Lahaina. Our people have stored this aina since time immemorial, and that is a kuleana that I proudly, Awamo, carry the burden. We have lived with the struggle for water in our community for more than 130 years. Over a century ago, plantations completely diverted our streams, forcing us off of our ancestral lands because without fresh water, we're no longer able to feed ourselves. After decades of advocacy for our why, this commission finally took the initiative, to proactively manage Maui's Komohana's public trust resources by establishing numeric stream inflow standards and designating Maui Komohana as a water management area. Mahalo for that. Water was finally returned to our stream and our community. We immediately saw a rebound in native stream life such as Oopu, Opai, Hi'ivai. Fish came back to the mouth of the stream to spawn. Ohana with generational ties to Maui, Komohana, were able to return to their ancestral lands to resume kalo cultivation. My Ohana restored our ancestral lands in Kahoma, and we worked hard to reclaim that space so that Aloha could thrive once again, at least until the August wildfires intensified the battle for in Maui Komohana. The forward progress our community made to protect and restore our why was undone via the political maneuvering of Chair Chang. I'm sorry, Chair Chang, I'm just being honest. The Green Administration and West Maui Land Company executives who used this tragedy to exert even more control over our public trust water resources away. It is impossible for me to put into words the degree of which our community is struggling right now. We are in a disaster recovery mode, and yet we are taking the time away from restoration and rebuilding to come before this commission because we know that our community cannot rebuild and will not survive without our why, the why. My request is simple. Please respect upon the law, honor the water code, the designation of Maui Komohana as water management areas that you, commissioners, unanimously supported. We took you at your word and worked hard over the last year to complete our water use permits applications. To have that all taken away with a swish of Josh Green's pen was hurtful and added insult to many injuries we are already trying to recover from. The water code may be back in effect for now, but without Deputy Director Manuel, the burden on our commission is compounded. Especially given Chair Chang's and Governor Green's behavior in the last month, our trust has been broken. Please help us to heal, move forward by immediately reinstating Deputy Director Manuel. You need this just as much as we do. In Maui Komohana, our streams are the lifeblood of our community. We are in a new era that requires a different allocation of water to support our community, ensure a healthier ecosystem, and distribute water consistent with the priorities set forth by law and traditional concepts of land management, such as Aloha Aina. Our community is more resolute than ever before and urge you to work with us, not against us. Vai is the most important resource for Lahaina, for Maui, and for the entire Aina. Without Vai, there can be no Vai. We have to get this right. If there is any hope for Lahaina to rebuild in a way that represents and centers community, and it starts with the values of which we embrace our water resources. I implore this commission to stand in solidarity with the Kupa of Lahaina in our efforts to rebuild our community and steward our water resources in a way that ensures our community can continue to survive and thrive in Maui Komohana. Finally, I'll stop there. I'm going to share something with everybody in this room. We have been voyaging for thousands of years. We understand what it means to find new land. We've been sailing in a storm for the last 150 years. Lahaina is a result of that storm. Mauna Kea went open the door.
No.
Lahaina is bearing the burden. Hawaii is feeling the hurt. We have to come up with a new sail plan. We have to come up with a sail plan that we all can agree on. But when you write your mana'o to that sail plan, you have to make these two things aware in front of you when you write that line. You're putting your grandmother on that canoe. You're putting your 1-month-old child on that canoe. You're not going. They're going on this canoe. So when you think about that new sail plan that we're all going to contribute to, that's a sacrifice you're making. So that sail plan has to be sound and everybody has to agree on it. For that sail plan to work, we have to understand the start compass. I apologize for my time, but I've been waiting 200 years for this.
Yeah.
This compass that we have been sailing under has been miscalibrated for the last 150 years. It's time for us to recalibrate this compass. There's 4 cardinal points to that start compass. Today, those are government, economic development, the tourist industry, the private sector, community. Those are the 4 cardinal points. Community has been last, forgotten. Within these 4 cardinal points, there's 7 houses that make up this start compass. you hold one of those houses. And everyone else, from the union workers, the dock workers, DHHL, Kamehameha Schools, Hawaiian Homes, the list goes on. We all own a house. Those homes haven't been doing their job to keep that compass calibrated. This canoe has been sailing for the last 150 years down a path of destruction. I know we all understand voyaging. It's time for us to recalibrate that compass. It is the hardest thing to do, but right now it's the easiest. Why? Because there is no Lahaina. Lahaina is the pico. It's all gone. As hard as it is, it's going to be the easiest place for us to rebuild with these three values. This canoe is broken. This canoe is being rebuilt right now. When we agree on the sail plan, we're going to load this canoe with its navigators, with its captains, and its crew. But those that come on this canoe will be selected by the people. Love and protect your land. Love and protect your family. Love and protect your community. In today's westernized and industrialized world, you can maybe do one. You can maybe do two. But can you do all three?
Archie.
Sorry,
No,
I'm sorry.
No, I realize that, but
I'm sorry, but I have to finish what I'm saying.
all right, go ahead.
When we load this canoe with those people, this canoe will be ready to set sail, but it's going to wait for the right wind. You guys are the key to that right wind. I cannot fight for something I don't understand. I watched that water transform in Kahoma, so I'm going to fight like heck. I seen the changes. I seen the changes not only in the stream for selfish reasons, because of my family's taro patch I wanted to farm. What I learned was what I consider today a college education. I saw the stream go from gray hot water to gray warm water to clear warm water to cold clear water to where the stream was flowing, disappearing, came back up. Today, that stream is a healthy stream. What that tells me, it's filling up the aquifer, but it doesn't stop there. We've seen that stream transform to the ocean that brought the spawning fish back. I seen it with my own eyes. About 7 years of being in class every single day, watching that stream. The spawning fish coming back. Even more importantly, global warming today. Reefs bleaching. I didn't know what that was 12 years ago. Today, I know what a bleaching reef is because I sailed around the world on that canoe. That stream and its cold water has allowed the reef to blossom. It is a small area, maybe as big as this room, but I see change. That's how important this is. We have to speak for the Opai, the Opu, and the Hi'ivai that does not have a voice. We have to fight for them because they are part of our Lahaina community. They are part of our island life. So I apologize for taking your time, but I hope this journey, this new sail plan is something that you all can share your mana'o and write your part of keeping that sail plan safe to the future for the next generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you.
Aloha, my name is Uilani Tevanga, and I am a Lahaina mother of 5, one of the thousands of families who lost everything, one of the thousands whose life is now in ash. And yet it is from the ash that I see clearer than I ever have. And I first want to mahalo, even though she's not here, Auntie Uilani Kapu, because my whole manao, and I'm not wearing red, but my daughter, who's 16, has had a love for Kiha Wahine for years and has felt her activations for years. And she asked me to wear this today. And it is in that spirit of Wahine energy who activates all of us back to what is most important. Kiha Wahine is calling to all of us, not just in Lahaina, but across Pai'aina, to restoration and reclamation. And the imbalance that has happened, and I apologize for anyone who takes offense, because we've forgotten the Wahine in all of this. It has been dominated by the male decisions. It has come from wounded masculine and wounded greed, where all of this began, where we started to have these Judeo-Christianity colonized mindset around what was important and what was not. When it was our kupuna who understand that life force energy is feminine. And it was Kiha Wahine who carried the mana of the people of Lahaina. And one of the books that I was reading prior to the fire, it was called The Sacred Places of Lahaina. And it was actually one of the puke that our kumu Punana Leo had lent to us. One of the ancient names of Lahaina is Lahaina Loa, meaning land of prophecy. Why was it that Lahaina was the center for our ali'i? Why did they pick that place? Because it's a portal, much like a wahine is a portal between two worlds. And so these spiritual conversations that have been left out of the science and the politics is the reason why I feel like we are here today. And I had not planned on sharing that because I guess that is very odd, especially in a state building. But if you connect to the land and you connect to the natural cycles of death and rebirth and regeneration, you understand, much like the cycles of a wahine body. I thank you for not taking lightly that so many of us flew from Lahaina during such a time of pain. And in these 2 minutes, I won't say anything that you haven't already heard because this plight is ancient. So what I will say is this: after your life is completely shattered, everything becomes simple. And there are two questions that I find myself asking with each step. What is the purpose? And what is this in service to? What is the purpose that Peter Martin and Greg Tremble petitioned you in a time of collapse and suffering? What or who was it in service to? Was it in service to the collective or to their future assets? Was it in service to truth or their narrative? What was it in service to? So many outsiders want to point fingers how it all happened. For those hearing this, know that it is not hard. This has been waiting to happen for generations because the pleas of the community to restore the streams and restore the water has continued to fall on deaf ears and has compromised all of us, supported by the powers that be. With each passing generation, with each past gentleman estate under the guise of agriculture lands. So again, what is the purpose of the petition? And was it in service to future prevention? Was it in service to healing the land, which should be our only focus right now? Or was it in service to their own pockets? And like Kale shared, let me quote Peter Martin in a recent interview to the Washington Post, which he said that there are restrictions which prevent him from farming or doing his developments on the land he owns. And also that the truth is, I believe that God was angry, Martin said, that these lands were not being used as God intended. This is who is in control of most of the water in West Maui. Does this God prefer water to be used for many infinity pools over sustainable farming, which feeds the community? As one of the wealthiest individuals in Hawaii, he has had many chances to restore stream flows, but chooses over and over again to put his company over the community. And that is the painful story of Lahaina. And that is the story of Hawaii. A separation of those who think for deep profit and those who are pleading for protection to what is rightfully, ancestrally ours. This tragic thing that we are now living through, that my children wake up with nightmares from, who have lost classmates in a young age in elementary, kupunas who can't even drive to the other side of the island because they've only ever known Lahaina. This is the reality, and it is simple. That even our keiki understand that taking care of our streams, restoring the natural flow from Ukumehame through Honokahau should be paramount to the restoration of our community. So I challenge, no matter what the water code may say, that we go a little further and we push back on this 25 to 30%. How can we sustain? How can we restore with 25%? Last night when I was getting ready to come here, and Uncle Kiamoku talks about moku ula, restoring moku hinia. And it says right here that the crown ownership of this parcel, moku hinia TMK 2467 Part 2, was assumed by the Republic of Hawaii in 1893. And then the territory, and then the state of Hawaii for the use of County of Maui Parks and Rec. We're not asking for moku ula to be restored. We are saying it is going to be restored. It was stolen. And once the water diversion happened, this is where we are. Today, I flew in for my children because for the past decade or so, I have been testifying alongside with them and much of their kumus who have taught them in this room. We are not here for our own interests. We are in service to our community and the survival of our lands and our streams and our beaches. And I can't be everywhere. But when it comes to Lahaina, I gather my babies in that car and we show up. It is such a gift that my 9-year-old can identify what a o'opu is, no matter where she is. And I mahalo Archie and Kai for providing those opportunities to have real life learning that our family, even though I didn't grow up on Maui, my lineal ties are specifically for Lahaina, Ukumehame, and Ka'anapali. And that brings me back home. That is my ho'ikapiko moment. Everyone outside of Lahaina is saying that they want to help us heal. What do you need? What do you need? Let us know what you need. If you are listening to this, we need voices. We need water to return. We are not here for our own interests. As you have heard, and I want to share that as a trauma-informed facilitator in the work that I do, healing only comes when safety is created. And as you have heard, Kaleo Manuel brought that safety net to so many. It spoke to the community that after all this work, you are now safe. So I don't want to hear about healing until we can provide safety, until in our bodies, we can know that what we build is not going to burn. Justice for place like Kahoma Valley. We are demanding our voices be heard. We're demanding the Water Commission to continue to uphold the state water code, investigate West Maui land, not just by talking with them, but by coming out to Lahaina, learning from our people, listening to the wisdom. Who better to steer this forward than those who have ties here for thousands of years and are pili with each part of its natural cycles. We are in this mess because of the generations of continued greed and zero accountability to that which was done to our land and waters. And I hope that the commission will also reflect on the simple questions that I have posed today. What is the purpose? And what are we in service to? And know that with all that has been said, no matter the amount of pushback we face, we will be here at every point until the waters flows as it once did, until we see the waters flow once more into Mokuhinia, until Moku'ula is restored, our spiritual center, our piko, we will be here. And my 16-year-old daughter texted me just as I was sitting there. She's like, Mom, can you please add that the Kawa'ula stream fed Mokuhinia, and Peter Martin is holding the water that can restore our piko. This is 16-year-old Moku'ula, which is needed to be restored as well for the healing of our people and community. So eola maui komohana, e ho'i kanani Moku'ula, eola I kawai.
I have 10 seconds of your time. Just want to say something very respectful before everybody. I've been watching you, sir, Commissioner Paul Mayer. I see you fumbling around with your pen all the student session. I just see you looking at your cell phone very disrespectfully, not paying attention to anybody here. So if you feel bored with this testimony,
Excuse
maybe you
me.
should step down.
No.
I'm sorry, I just have to say that.
Okay.
I'll excuse myself.
Thank you.
Show these people some respect, sir. Stop fumbling with your phone and playing with your little pen there. Very disrespectful.
I'm going to call, is it Mikiawa? Okay, and then after that is Darylyn and Anson and Mr. Go ahead, Mikiawa.
Yeah, it's beautiful shoes to follow, as I sit here. I had a script written out, but things just come as you listen to my friends, my family, and my community. It hurts to be here. It's not comfortable for many of us. But it's the most beautiful thing, to see these faces. A lot of these people, they live in the back of valleys just like me, and they never come out of these valleys. They all probably have so much work they should be doing right now, but they're here. And like, I always see Keith at testimonies, or I hardly even see him. We live on the same island because he's always working. Same like Kale, Willie. That's the beauty in our people. We show up for each other. We have each other's backs and drop whatever you're doing. And when Kale was talking about Charlie, like when our OI broke, right, he lived up Ko'ula. Not only does he make poi for everybody, he was coming all the way up to Waihe'e Valley after work for help me dry stack pohaku and teaching me how to dry stack pohaku in our kahoi, fixing our OI. That's Charlie, the guy that Peter Martin tried to place blame on. And that's the reality. That's the reality we live in. We're always having to defend ourselves and our people. But sitting here, all I could think of was an olelo no'eo, o'ohe loa'a, ika noho vale. Nothing is gained in idleness. My name is Mikiala Pua Afreitas, and I'm a kalo farmer from Wahe'e Maui in Nawai'eha. My valley backs up to Honokohao, and beyond that is Kohoma and Ko'ula. On the agenda, there's 2 permits, the Mundi and the whole PE, water use permits, and I support those permits. Those waters come from Wahe'e River, and I'm here to support, even though my permit was denied by Dr. Miike. The land I live on, generational lands, all we do is farm kalo. And lost in translation in my testimony years ago, I was denied, but that's not going to stop me from growing kalo, rebuilding our OI, and helping make sure all of my neighbors get water. Permits, that we got to come and reason with you guys why we need it. Anyway, I support those 2 agenda items. And I can't help but feel that this meeting should have been on Maui, And I understand you guys spoke to some of our elders, but everything we've heard today is about Maui. We're here on our dime and our time, and it is important for you guys to hear our voices and see our faces, But it's important to be on our island and feel the mana of our island, feel the mana of our makani. See the waters that the decisions you guys make are being affected by, yeah? The crippling of our island, yeah? It's important for you guys to be there, see it, and feel it. Because all of us here, this city, Honolulu, this building, this small room, yeah? This is abnormal for all of us, many of us, yeah? This is very abnormal. This is a very abnormal environment. And the environment that we live, breathe, eat, work, and thrive on is very abnormal for all of you. And we got to understand that, yeah? So that's why we're here, yeah? We're trying to explain to you guys our way of life, yeah? Who better to guide, educate, and collaborate about the decisions you guys make and set forth than the many of us in this room and the many more back on Maui, yeah? Because every day we living with the repercussions of it, yeah? This is our way of life. The decisions you guys get to make here and what we live with, we feel it every day. We see it, and like it's inevitable. Like it's unavoidable, yeah? This so-called leading, yeah? Who's defending us? Who's defending our resources, yeah? Who's defending our way of living? Not you guys, not the governor, you know? As we all saw, we, the people of Hawaii, we organized, we demanded, and we had our voices heard. In an instant, Governor Green, Sylvia Luke made a mockery of years of collaborative work and effort of our people, our lawyers, and you guys. We set an IIFS up, followed the water code, and in an instant, our so-called government officials further perpetuated the trauma and distrust these systems set on us, on our people, yeah? When you disregard the rights and the voices of the people, that's not leadership. That's gross, negligent dictatorship. When I was a little kid, yeah, like my older siblings were at the park, and I wanted to finish one more game, but curfew was coming up, and I was like, told my older brother, come on, one more game, like, please. So he's like, okay, whatever, finish your game. Boom, we paddle our bikes home. We get home, past our curfew. My parents are pissed. It was my fault, you know. I was like 4 or 5. But my oldest brother, are you crazy? He's not gonna let me take the blame. He's like, he took all the blame, no questions asked. Oh, my fault. We're late home because of me. And I looked at him and I was like, oh, it's my older brother, like freaking solid, yeah. Like that love and respect that I gained that in that moment, and the lesson that I learned, like it was there, yeah, as a little kid. And it's like the leadership, yeah, amongst all our agencies throughout this has been embarrassing, from Green all the way down. To ostracize Kaleo Manuel in a time of panic, that's not leadership. Yeah, to not even have his back. His name, Kaleo, that speaks volumes. He's excelled in his position. He's engaged with the community, and he's made site visits. He's attended community meetups, and he's come to the valley I live in numerous times to understand the complexity of our OA system. Because the codes and the standards you guys set, yeah, it's left upon us to enforce, share, regulate, yeah. And we've been doing that. That's why we're still thriving in this day and age. We know how to manage our water resources. We know how to manage our OA. We know how to share. We don't want any more false promises, yeah. I think every single person that testified came up in support of Kaleo Manuel. So I think what would be nice moving forward is to really set a date. Yeah. To really set a date to get Kaleo reinstated, or hey, set what, like, I know it's a personnel thing, but we don't want this to fall upon deaf ears. Yeah. And I hope that, yeah, in the next meeting in October, we do see Kaleo here at the table, and he's well deserving of a seat at the table. And yeah, I just want to end with, just really, yeah, this isn't easy for a lot of people, and just know that it's all coming from the heart, and we want to be a part of the solution, not the problem. And yeah, mahalo nui.
Are you from Maui too?
Yes.
Okay, please
Yeah,
go ahead.
my name is Dari Alvarez. I'm from Lahaina Maui. When you support your kalo farmer, you support your community. This is a phrase that has been on my na'au for quite some time now. It is a phrase that Deputy Director Kaleo Manuel so clearly understands. Kalo farmers are the epitome of what it means to be kama'aina, a child of the land, of this land, Hawaii. Covered in mud from their knees to their feet, they work tirelessly in their lo'i. They are a servant to the land. Though tired, they are strong physically and mentally. They are full of humility and trustworthiness. They are full of knowledge and aloha. When they harvest their kalo, they share it. They feed their communities. Contrary to the values upheld by Deputy Director Kaleo Manuel and our kalo farmers, there are the self-proclaimed big shots at West Maui Land Company, Peter Martin and Glenn Trumbull, whose greed and disdain for the local communities of Lahaina have not gone unnoticed. It is quite apparent that they will do and say just about anything, no matter how outlandish, manipulative, or egregious, to destroy what already little access to water the kalo farmers have. Among these egregious behaviors are statements made by Peter Martin suggesting that the devastating fires that struck our town, taking the lives of so many innocent people, were an act of God, stating that he truly believes God was angry that these lands, Lahaina, were not being used as God intended. A statement I hope will lead to a full investigation into this greedy developer's enterprises. Then there's his counterpart, Glenn Trumbull, who falsely accused Kaleo Manuel of withholding water that he claims would have assisted fire crews at the time of the fire. This a complete and utter lie. One that has traveled far and wide, almost tarnishing the reputations of Kaleo Manuel and the kalo farmers of Maui Komohana. The truth is, the water from the reservoirs of Laniopoko and Kauaula were inaccessible to the fire helicopters due to high winds on the day of August 8th. These same reservoirs do not tie into county lines either, therefore eliminating all claims made by West Maui Land Company and further proving its falsity. It is a shame that the protections and interim in-stream flow standards that my ohana and other members of our community have been fighting for decades could be so easily overturned, all due to false pretenses made by perpetuators of settler colonialism. It is in closing that I urge you to make like a kalo farmer and do what is pono. Return Deputy Director Kaleo Manuel to his rightful position today. Mahalo.
Hanson Keahi, and then is it Cornell Dizon, Christopher Dizon, Rosemary Keahi Heath, and then Keith Keahi.
How you guys doing? My name is Cornell Vance Lapai Dyson. I'm from the area of Mala. I don't know if you guys know where that part is, on the opposite side of the cannery.
Yep.
You know, I was already displaced once already from Pukali after the plantation, went away, and then we had to find new homes. So we moved down to Mala. we've been there 50 years. Now the whole house is burned. It's all gone. You know what I mean? Me and my brother, Chris, my sister was going crazy because we didn't want to leave with her.
I'm already on.
In the fire. I mean, the fire didn't come yet. But when the fire came, me and my brother, I just look at my mom, my dad, they're all deceased already. My uncles, But what I looked at when the house was burning, I looked at my nieces, my nephews that my mom nurtured, brought them up. And that's the next generation that's going to take care. We have to take care of them. You know what I mean? We had time with the plantation, we had strikes. The community came together. We had soup kitchens. Even when bad time water at the plantations, everybody knew how to save water. You fill up the tub, you fill up gallons into one, it was manageable. And all we was taught by our parents is love and respect. And this community is built around that. The love is there's no other place the love is like this. I mean, look at all the different nationalities we are associated with. I think everybody on this island pretty much is related, even on the other side. I love this community. I don't want to be displaced. Right now, me and my sister and my brother was living in the house, and that was my mom's house before she passed away. And my sister Liz took over. And then when we lost everything, our family is displaced. My sister lived in Kahului, where she feels, differently. I mean, we get our share of, sirens and everything like that, but it comes with the territory where we live in Mala. You have to respect that. So when you displace people, there's a lot of sadness in there. I mean, I'm heartbroken, what makes me happy, I'm a musician. I love to play. I love to see people, uplift, enjoy the music, be part of me, what I share. So I need you guys to be part of us and listen to what we as a community of Lahaina, you guys know what we need? We asking you politely, please help our community, help our kupunas, the new generations coming up. You know what I mean? I got grandchildren. I hope they make it through. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Shancy Vasquez. I'm from Lahaina, born and raised. I recently turned 17 and I'm currently a junior at Lahaina High School. Thank you for allowing me to speak on behalf of bringing awareness to the water issues. But before I do, I cannot forget to thank those who got me here. My mother, who gave me the freedom to speak as a young adult, encouraging me to take a stand for the things I believe in. My Heavenly Father, who has given me the talent of speech as I now learn to find my voice. And my boss, Thomas Oliver from my Komushevais, who has sponsored me on this trip so my voice may be heard. And my educators, Kui Hafoka, Nolan Hong, and Kumu Jamie Polikiko, who have spent immense time and effort into trying to enlighten me on this topic. As the world has seen from the multiple media platforms, on August 8th, Lahaina was taken, stripped from the land with a fire that has been described as detrimental, and now brings about many issues that come after such a tragic event, one of them being the water. I want to bring up the fact that the vice should never belong to one man or company, but the people of the island. Unfortunately, it has been an ongoing battle that has led us here. Looking back at how thousands of people have been affected due to poor water management and ongoing water theft by big companies like West Maui Land Company. Vice is an essential part of the circle of life. Not only does Vice feed our bodies, it feeds our aquifers, rivers, wells, the animals in those bodies of water, and all living organisms. It is crucial we try our best to protect this resource, particularly because it is being exploited for profit by big companies like West Maui Water Company. Vai is a resource that we should not have to fight for, especially when the state water code states that the waters of the state are held for the benefit of the citizens of the state. So you can imagine how infuriating it is having to deal with the fact this code is not being upheld. I'd also like to focus my frustration on the in-stream flow standards and how these standards are not being met. The IFS is supposed to mandate how much Vai the rivers should have. But how is it being mandated when the state and county have not been regulating water companies to make sure those standards are met? It is important to know how vital the IFS is. If it's not upheld and we continue to ignore the issues of dry conditions, drought, and many other environmental changes, we're going to face many more problems. What will our rivers, streams, and Aina look like in 10 years from now if it's already dry today because of the unregulated private interest in private water use? I feel compelled to come here and represent my generation and their future because of the standards you're implementing at the moment. It doesn't only affect the now, but the future, our future. So please ensure that these things are correctly put into place. And by this, I mean, do what should have been done in the first place. Create standards that bring water to the Aina and not to the rich man's hands. Hold those accountable for their crimes, but also take accountability for the state's failure to uphold those standards. Mahalos.
Well, you did awesome. Your mother should be very proud of you. Thank you very much for taking the time to come here and share your mana'o with us. That was very impressive. You were able to articulate in a very, very simple way what the IIF is. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
But we didn't come to Oahu for nothing, right, Kai?
There you go.
You know, I grew up in a time where the Bull Durham bag was my filter, you know, and very few people smoke, you know, bag tobacco. Kai's grandfather did, though, just so we could have the filter bags. But and, you know, we were very fortunate in growing up where our tutu was a caretaker for Lahaina. He was the Kahanawai man. He was he took care of the intake in Lahaina Luna Valley. Oh, we kanaha. And then when he got older, he hired his granddaughter's husband, and his name was my tutu man's name was Pili Kekai Haya Kekai. And he hired his son, Paul, a grandson or granddaughter's husband, Paul La'a, who was originally from Nanakuli, to be the second caretaker. And so we grew up in a time where we had to go up mountain. We had to go take care of that. We had to make sure the stream was flowing nicely, where it wasn't, you know, like nothing fell into it, no boulders fell into it, or no trees went down, so that from the stream, we would have a constant flow of controlled flow, as they would, you know, put it, because it just went from one terrace to another. And at that time, we had 27 patches. And we had fruit trees and all of that. So, and then when you go home, you know where your water comes from, although we had the Bull Durham bag, you know. So and when it got dirty, we cleaned it out and we put it back on. We drank from the faucet outside. You know, I just got gifted a water system to my house, and because of someone that knew one of my children. And he said the highest testing that they found in Lahaina's water, the contamination, was chloroform. And the system took it out. And so, but they gave me with one condition, that I furnish water from my neighbors. So they gave me a big spigot so anybody can bring their totes to my house or whatever. But we come so far from the Bull Durham bag to the system that works from our tutu's time, from a water intake that's controlled when there's heavy rain. They control it by closing the dam a little bit, and then so that it wouldn't flood anyone. or make any other diversions. And the one thing with water that Tutu always used to talk about was that water is muscle memory. So no matter how much you divert water, it's gonna go back to where it knows. We've had that happen in Puamana, where they took the diversion so those people in Puamana would not be inundated with the extra flow from Mount Malka or all the debris, so they diverted the water in another way. But in 2018, when we had the flooding and all of that and the fire, all of that went down the same way. Cars were in the stream and everything through Puamana. My thing is that a young man, or as meant, as Kaleo Manuel, in all of this that we have had happen, again, we come to water. Like water has been the big source in the beginning of time for us because it was the Venice of Lahaina. Do one exercise for me. Point your finger, all of you. Point your finger. Point your finger. Point your finger. Point your finger out. Yeah. And where's the other rest pointing back at? Yourselves. Us, all of us. We're all responsible for whatever has happened because we let it happen. You're responsible for putting a man back into place where he could work with the community and we could honestly talk to him. He had empathy and all. And that's what we don't have right now. It's like, it just seems like because of what happened to Lahaina, everybody's just taking advantage of our hurt. They comfort us, but at the same time, it's like, we can do this, we can do that. But the empathy, as that man had, he started from the grassroots of what he believed the water was for, and it was for the community. And how do we let Peter Martin own the water utility? I took my cousins in the Olawalu fire. I took them to go pay his bill because his truck was down. And I said, where are we going? And I had to take him to a building that was West Maui land. That's where he was paying his water bill. So how do we let that happen? How do we let a man like that and all that he's been doing? I mean, he's done so much damage to the local people, to all of us. He's taken so much away, not only the dignity of our pride, but how much every time we got to go up against him on all the fast tracking and all that kind of stuff. I mean, they have a system where affordable housing, you come and then you get denied. And then it's like, oh, well, you should qualify, get some of your family members to come on. But by the time they get family members to come on, they end up paying market price. Because it's changed. If you get 50 people or more that get denied, then they have a right to go up. I cannot, there's too much going on in Lahaina like that. Lahaina, I grew up at a time where we could walk to school. There were many, many trees on Front Street, so you never tired. You could even pick mango along the way. You could pick plum along the way. And then you take it first, especially if you know that you're going to be a little bit late. And our teachers would welcome that, just take your seat, especially if you gave them a mango. But our vibe just came from everywhere. Going on the pali, that's all you see. When there's rain, you see little streams coming down in every little crevice of land going through the pali. We don't see that anymore because of the diversion. And because of the diversion and all of that, we hurt. And we know that we want everyone that we've been helping, all of the people I work with, they all want to rebuild. And they don't want to go back to the Philippines. They don't want to go back to China or go back to the mainland. They want to rebuild. And the only way we can rebuild is water. We need to know that our land will have water. So when we build, we will have that. And wherever there is water, there is life. And we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. So they say that the solution to pollution is to dilution. I say we get rid of Peter Martin. We put Kaleo Manuel back into where he needs to be for his people. And you have the judgment to do that. So, No, thank you.
Aloha.
Hello.
My name is Mia Lisa Otis, and I am echoing the voices of so many, and I didn't memorize it. So it's to uphold the Maui Komohana Water Management Area designation, ensure that the interim in-stream flow standards are being met, and to reinstate Kaleo Manuel as Deputy Director. And just looking at this kalo in front of me, it's about life. We're all being poetic because it's coming from our hearts, because it's our life. There's so much life in the stream, wildlife, the whole ecosystem. And you see us wearing red, and we wear red as a sign of unity because we stand together and we bleed together. But it's also to signify that it's also blood on your hands. So you need to stop the diversion, and because you can't divert the people. It's just like Red Hill. You can prioritize the use of water. You can cut down on the golf courses. You can pump the pools of the development and of the gated homes, and you can stop commercialism. There's always community over commercialism and kia'i over corruption. So we'll be watching you, and I hope you make the right decision. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just give one question, and I just pray right now that Josh and Brooke and everybody else in that fifth floor is listening and watching. I wasn't going to speak. I'm listening to a lot of everybody talking about Kaleo and the man that he represents for the people. You guys all know I'm about the people. And it was loud and clear that he was illegally or misleading of his being dismissal done. So I don't know all the particulars. I never read through the whole thing and all that, and I'm not going to get into it because later on we won't get into it. So I'm very disappointed in our governor. Our governor is a big letdown. He was my good friend when he was the LG, working for the people, trying to put our people on the west side into homes. And he's been silent to the people. He goes on camera when he wants to go on camera. He wants to showboat when he wants to showboat. Today, we all understand that he does the appointment for the directors and deputy directors. My clarification is that we, as the senator, confirms. Didn't we have a part in confirming the deputy?
Not the water deputy.
So you appointed the deputy.
So the process is I appointed the deputy, and the water commission approves my appointment.
Okay.
So just like the Senate approves me. they
We just
approve-
wanted to clarification because there's a lot of mixed feelings out there.
Sure.
So I don't understand, and maybe we're gonna have to change some laws here on this coming session. If you're in criminal, you ain't got a lot of things that you can do. How is it possible as a criminal can own all of these things in Maui? See, I was living in Maui in the late 90s and before the 2000s. I was working in Maui Brews in High Regency, Maui. And all of this defecation and all of this insanity wasn't there. Because I remember at one time the county was holding the water meters, wasn't letting anybody build or develop. I don't know what mayor came there later and changed all of that and started selling these water meters like it was hotcakes. But water diversion always wasn't Pono. I don't care how you slice it and dice it. That was never ever in the cards. And this guy, I don't even know him. I only heard so much times about this clown. What his name? Peter Martin. I just kind of concerned. Deputy Attorney General. All what you're hearing right now, is there an investigation? Or do I have to go to my office over there and write one letter to the Attorney General to investigate this crook? Because all of these guys can't be lying. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys, I watched this commercial. I'm not a TikToker. I just got on TikTok because get a lot of good information. Not always good, but a lot of good information. So I watched this donkey advertise his subdivision farming. I seen swimming pools done and grass. I don't see any fruit trees. How are we allowing him to use trickery and lying to boost his motivation to get in the land and keep building? Well, that's where we're going to come in as legislators. We need to change that. He needs to be stopped. He's a criminal. He's lying. There's nothing to do with farming. The guys who's suffering is the farmers. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that my staff is here taking notes. We're going to make some changes and talk to some of the people here. We're going to have to put in one law before we give you guys any more money to bring in any more people to do this. So due diligence. We need to make laws to change that we cannot have criminals having a whole thing of winning our water. The water comes from God to our mountain. We are